One sunny but chilly day in November 2009, a trained security practitioner was taking his 53-year-old mother to pick up her medications from the pharmacy of the grocery store. This is the true story of the shopper who stands accused with Sections 334B and 271B of the Criminal Code of Canada for allegedly shoplifting and resisting arrest. This story is told in the video captures released to the defense by the Crown Prosecutor's Office in Calgary and in the testimony of Security Guard Number 2 as the case unfolds before the courts. Security Guard Number 1 wanted to purchase some gum and stopped at the candy aisle to search for his brand. Among the materials disclosed to the defense are the video frame evidence. There are many gaps in this evidence. During this gap is a store employee identified by the defense as a person of interest. Neither the Crown Prosecutor's Office nor the grocery store has forwarded any information to the defense regarding this individual. The shopper proceeded to the pharmacy to pick up her prescriptions. She could see that the pharmacist was busy with another customer with his prescriptions. The shopper has enough experience with this pharmacist to know that this may take a while. The shopper also required a particular button cell battery and decided to bide her time looking through the battery rack for the product. Having experience in the retail industry, the shopper has a habit of facing product while searching and waiting for the pharmacist. Facing product is the act of pulling the product forward on their pegs so the rack has the appearance of being full. It is also interesting to note that this blonde woman has also been identified by the defense as a person of interest. The shopper is also keeping an eye on the pharmacist and her progress with her current customer. The pharmacist likes to be very thorough with her customers, giving them as much time as they need throughout the transaction. She is very knowledgeable and friendly. At 53, the shopper isn't as sharp as she used to be and was also trying to visualize where another battery display might be in the store. This pharmacist also does really well in customer service, another trick of the retail trade. Taking a little extra time with the customer lets them know that you care. Without applying the principles of customer service, along comes Security Guard Number 2, who immediately perceives the shopper's behavior as suspicious. Security Guard Number 2 admits to perceiving that the shopper's coat was bulky, yet it was no more bulkier than anyone else had on in the store that day. It is also interesting to note that Security Guard Number 2 also testified that it was he who dictated which video frames were to be used in court, omitting other frames creating gaps in the evidence. Let's play that again. This is the closest the shopper may have come to meeting the security guard. He testified that his target was looking around a lot, like she was looking for people watching her. Yet the video capture shows a person who's totally oblivious that Security Guard Number 2 is so obviously there. Security Guard Number 2 seemed to have a mindset that the shopper's intentions were sinister and he was going to catch her. He maintained that he always had his target in his sight. Yet these moments of video show that Security Guard Number 2 had at least 6 seconds expire in which he never once looked at his target. The shopper is still oblivious that she is now the target of store security, but she can see that the pharmacist is nearing the end of her transactions with her customer. The security guard testified that he saw the shopper remove 2 packages of batteries from the battery rack. Security Guard Number 2 also took a Calgary Police Services officer on his own commentary through the video that he prepared for the Crown Prosecutor's Office. Police did not take statements from anyone who did not aid in the prosecution of the shopper, nor did they inventory the possessions found in the shopper's belongings. The pharmacist does spend a lot of time with her customers. She gets to know them and is very concerned for their well-being. She personalizes her services. This video shows that the shopper did not take anything from the battery rack. She is simply looking for batteries that are not in stock. She is wondering where there might be another battery display in the store, and she is still watching for the pharmacist to become free. Good customer service is sending employees to find customers such as the shopper who require assistance in finding a product. This kind of customer service personalizes the store, helping customers to find everything they need, and is a deterrent to theft. Security Guard Number 2 testified that he selected all the video frames disclosed to the defense by the Crown Prosecutor's Office. In this gap in the video capture frames, the shopper is having a lengthy conversation with the pharmacist. The shopper is then rejoined by Security Guard Number 1, and together they proceed to leave the store. There are a lot of questions that have to be answered. Why were only a limited amount of video frames provided in disclosure? Why did security guard number 2 not disclose all video frames of the shopper? Why did police not do a proper investigation into allegations? Why did officers of the Calgary Police Service only take witness statements from those favorable to the Crown's case? Security guard number 2's testimony during this gap in the video is that the shopper removed the batteries from her coat, threw them to the ground. She then turned around to face the security guard. He then stated to the shopper that he was a loss prevention officer and that she was under arrest for theft. It was his testimony that the shopper then very quickly turned back around just in time for the next camera to pick up the security guard taking a physical hold of the shopper. After many reenactments, this gap has to be a minimum of 11 seconds. What the video actually shows is the shopper preparing to go out into the chill as she zips up her coat. It is unlikely that she unzipped her coat moments later to discard product. Behind her is security guard number 2, flying through the frames in a running posture. It becomes evident that the blonde person of interest is a witness to the events unfolding in front of her. Video frame captures record the actual gap at 3 seconds. The shopper made it through the gap in 3 seconds. This is the average time to walk between the cameras. Security guard number 2 breezed through the gap in 2 seconds. This proves security guard number 2's version of the events are untrue. His arrest of the shopper was produced in his head. The shopper has yearly hearing tests which show she has a hard time hearing male voices. So if security guard number 2 had said anything to her prior, she did not hear him. And here comes the witness who can state definitively what transpired in the gap. But a store employee walks this witness past the scene, and her statement is never given to police. The evidence show that at no time did the shopper face the security guard while exiting the store. Security guard number 2 at no time identified himself to the shopper, nor did he place the shopper under arrest. When confronted with this situation, security guard number 1's training kicked in. He observed as much of the detail as he could with respect to the behavior of security guard number 2, whose physical actions were both unnecessary and unwarranted. Security guard number 1 informed security guard number 2 that the shopper has medical conditions with both her wrists and should not be placed in handcuffs. To no avail. Security guard number 2 shows security guard number 1 his identification, and it is the only time it is shown. It is never shown to the shopper. Security guard number 2 was pointing out to everyone where he says he believed the shopper had hidden product. His statement to the court, however, was that he was adjusting the shopper's jacket because she had asked him to, was another part of his fantasy. There's only one way to describe his use of handcuffs on the shopper: torture. As a result of the charges laid against the shopper, who was never found in possession of product from the store other than her medication, had her professional relationship with her pharmacist cut off, causing the shopper further distress. On November 15, 2009, Sobeys dialed 911 to report a suspected shoplifting. The City of Calgary Police Services arrived within minutes to handle the call. On November 27, 2009, a frantic Yin Louie dialed 911, fearing for the safety of her children, 13-year-old Jason and his 9-year-old sister Jane. Instead of sending police to check on the children, a 911 operator questioned Louie for several minutes while she rushed home to them. Yin Louie's next call to 911 was a blood-curdling scream as she discovered her children murdered by their father. The City of Calgary Police Services credited themselves with saving Yin Louie's life. In September of 2010, Calgary Police Services asked the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to lay criminal charges against John Kelly for speaking out against their inept investigation and corrupt practices. Calgary Police Services are a paramilitary organization that are in service to the corporate rich, not the citizenry.